Greetings and salutations, my artsy friends. How is everyone today? So good, I hope. So good. I am ready to just do some easy creating this morning. Well, you know, art soothes us, doesn't it? It just always does. At least it does for me. And I'm needing a little soothing this morning. Putting on some lip balm. Good morning, Valerie. Good morning, Keels. Oh, who else is here? Good morning, Kay. I was thinking about you today when I was, so we took my car in. Remember I told you it does this weird thing where it just kind of chugs almost. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, of course they couldn't find anything at the dealership. Whatever. But we had to go pick it up this morning from the dealership. And I was so happy to have my car back. And Seals and Crofts were on the radio the whole way back. And so I was all about it. Everybody take a drink. Let's start our day hydrated. Because sometimes you just never know what the day's going to bring, right? Anyway, if you're brand new here, if you would like, follow, and subscribe to Ann Corbiere-Scott Designs, I would greatly appreciate it on all of these platforms. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Ask to join Stitch Along with Ann and Ann Corbiere-Scott Designs Facebook groups. For all things Ann and artsy, go to AnnCorbiereScottDesigns.com. And then if you need to send me an email, AnnCorbiereScottDesigns@gmail.com. So, I saw this cool technique. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Like, when you see a cool technique, when somebody else, good morning, Deb, how you feeling today? When you happen upon somebody else's cool technique on social media, it is really important that you give them credit, certainly. Don't act like it was your own, but you can make it your own. Does that make sense to everybody? So I saw a technique by a girl, let me see, Lize.creates. So she's from the Netherlands, and she does some really cool art journal-y fun stuff that's right up our alley. So anyway, be sure to check her out. So what she did was she painted with distress oxides. But you can certainly do this with whatever water-soluble water-soluble medium you have. Do you know what I'm saying? Whatever you have, like if you have watercolors, you can absolutely do this. You can do it with art crayons. You can do it with all the things. So I said this morning to get your favorite, pick out a color palette, and then pick out a vintage papeterie. So here's what she did. So I have printed these on... Good morning, Carm. So I have printed these on copy paper. I also have, so here's another, this one is number 1, Vintage Papeterie number 1, and this is number 7. I like them because they have lots of handwriting on them, and that makes me all giddy, you know. So do you see this is a little bit curly? So I'm just going to roll it the opposite direction and get a little bit, it'll get a little flatter, right? I also did a piece of ledger paper I just thought that might be fun. And this one is rolled this way, so let's turn, and look at, this is my beautiful wet ledger paper got used for the test thing that goes through, you know, your printer. Okay. But I had another idea. So I have these papers, and I also have it printed on watercolor paper. But anyway, I have a plain piece of is it the turbo? Is it the turbo, Peggy? Because honest to Pete, it's driving me a little batty. It's the thing, you know, it just has, it's not like a chug, it's like a lag. It has this little lag, and it feels like when that little A thing is, when you haven't pushed the little A thing, when the A thing, you know, where it shuts itself off at a stop, it feels like that. And it's just frustrating. Anyway, they reset the whatever in the heck they had to reset, and so we're driving it to California, so we'll see what happens. Okay, so I have the floral washi tape from set number 3, and I'm going to cover this whole sheet because I had this big idea. Right? So just like we create card bases, like a card mat with this. Okay, what did you say? Okay. So I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to coat it with watercolor ground, and then I'll start the technique on some other substrates. I just thought this would be a cool thing. Interesting. Vicky, I didn't hear that. But I haven't watched any news because I was at the dealership this morning. And you know, it's so funny. So we're on our way there, and I told Jeff, I go, no blah, blah, blabbing this morning there. I just don't want to get home. I don't want to talk about it. They weren't able to fix it, so let's just go. I know that sounds terrible and defeatist, but I wanted to eat my breakfast before I taught my class. Okay, so now we have one last little bit. Okay, we have some extra in here, and so I will trim off the extra. Oh, look at that. It ripped itself off. Crazy. Flip that over. You know, I can't waste anything. So this strip that I'm cutting off, I'm going to stick it down on my craft mat because, you know, I can make something out of that. So I'm going to trim off all of this. I don't know why I feel like I have to hurry in the morning. I shouldn't. Right? We should be able to just ease ourselves into, like, once I'm painting, I don't feel like I have to hurry as much. Sometimes I guess I feel like I need to hurry for you guys, but you're not putting the pressure on me. I'm putting the pressure on me. So, this week has been a little bit of a challenge. And I'll tell you why. So, so a lot of you know that Jeff and I are headed to California to check in on my mother-in-law and just see everything's fine over there. Take a couple walks along the beach. But then we found out earlier this week that my mom is in the hospital. And so, we are probably, I am probably headed to Michigan, I think. And so, I don't know. Everything is topsy-turvy. I was going to launch new washi tape and new art printable this week. And you know what? It's just, I won't be here so to mail anything. So I think I'm going to hold off until I get home and things are a little bit back to normal. I still haven't found my comfort book, so now I'm wondering if it got stuck in somebody else's stuff somewhere along the way. I found someone's craft mat in my stuff. It's blue. Carm, do you know whose that is? Is that yours? Is it Joni's? I don't know. Maybe it's Tessa's? I don't know. Okay, so I covered this whole sheet with washi tape, and then I coated it with transparent watercolor ground. So I'm going to set that aside to dry. Then clean up my craft mat a little bit. I will ask for all of your prayers. I don't do that very often, but if you could send prayers her way, I would really appreciate that, if you are the praying type. Okay, so let's take, I'm going to take number 1. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's never a dull moment, is there? It's never a dull moment. Okay, so this is what I saw demonstrated. So she took some oxides, and she didn't pick the colors that I pick. I always pick bright colors, but the effect is nonetheless very cool. So I'm going to go sideways so you can see my whole everything. Is that, let's see, maybe I need to move up a little bit. Does that help? Thank you, Vicky. I appreciate that. Okay. I know, Carm, and I appreciate that more than you'll ever know. Okay. So this is what she did. Thank you, Lynn. I appreciate that. So we're going to make some paint with some oxide. So I just have water in a cup here, and I squished some paint down there, and I have this cheapy weird filbert. Who knows where I got this. And take some water, and we're going to make some paint, right? And I love that. I love the versatility of all these things that just by, that's why I love water-based mediums, because I can make paint out of everything, right? Okay, so we've got some color down there, and now I have this bag of lids. I'm not kidding you guys. I just grabbed these 4, and you know what? There's so many more. So this was from a crazy kind of water bottle. This is from vitamins, water. Sensing a theme. Okay, so here's what she did. So she took that paint and coated, and we've done something sort of like this, but okay, so she took her brush. Let's find something a little bit smaller. Okay, and she's just gonna take, oh, sure, there, is that better? There, that's better, right? Okay, so then she just took a wet brush and went around the edges. And that's creating some really cool, so let's wet the center and see what happens. Ooh, that's pretty. I like that better. So let's do that again. So I stamped it with my cap, and now I'm gonna come in from the center with a wet brush, not a damp brush. This time it's wet. I did use watercolor ground charm on my papers, right? So let's do the same. I'm just always up for a new kind of background, right? So my idea is that I want to, so let's do this. Let's try this, see what happens. Let's come over here and let's get some water down first. Then get our cap in the color and then stamp on top of that. And that looks like it's gonna do some really, oh, that's pretty. Now I'm just kind of painting with it. See what happens, right? So my idea is that I want to do some layers of color. Yeah. There, just see, this one's nice because look at how blendy it is, right? That one's very pretty. Let's do one over here. So this, I'm liking this better, going over it with water and then coming in with my oxide ink. That one I stamped twice, so think about that, like that's an idea too. I mean, it's all experimentation, right? And this doesn't have to be a perfect circle or anything like that. Good morning, Lynn. So let's paint a wet circle. Then let's come in with our stampy cap. I just like that there's like when you use the vintage puppetry, then you already have one layer. You know I'm all about the layers, right? So I just want to fill this sheet with these, and then I'm feeling like then I want to come in with the other colors, right? This time I'm giving it a little oomph. I dipped my brush into the oxide paint. Okay, Linda, so I saw a cool technique on Instagram, and the girl's name that I saw, the technique came from this girl, LIZE.creates on Instagram. And we were talking about how it's fun to see a technique and play with it. Don't call it your own, but make it your own. So you're going to take the idea, right? And you're going to play with it in their way. And the more you play with it in their way, this is my theory, you know, it's not like a rules. I mean, we don't want to copy somebody else's stuff and call it our own, certainly. There we go. There we go. But we can take that technique and grow with it, right? Just keep growing. I'm running out of paint, I think. So I have some dried watercolor ground, or who knows what it is on this, who knows, on this craft mat. Okay, so now I'm thinking, I want to let this dry. So we're going to start by this technique where we just kind of stamp and then move that color with a watery brush, right? But then I'm let's start experimenting. So that was Abandoned Coral, I believe. So now I want to come in with Picked Raspberry. And I'm just going to put it down on my craft mat. And then I'm going to take my brush, dip it in water, and make paint, right? Look at how beautiful and bright it is. But who knows what will happen with the next step. So now I'm going to take this big lid of, I think that water was called Core. I don't know. Jeff goes to the store every now and again in the middle of the day, you know, like to a gas station store. And he's like, do you want me to get you something? I go, yeah, give me a different kind of water. See what's out there. Okay, so do you see it's coated? And now let's stamp it down. Stamp it down. And I'm going over everything else that's on here. Then maybe this one. I don't know. Do I half and a half. There. Okay. Now let's take that little round, wet it, and come in with some of that color, and then let's go around. I kind of like the idea of like those darker bits of like that darker outline of color, and then kind of it washing out into the center. Does that make sense to everybody? I kind of dig that. So, like I said, I don't know if I'm going to Michigan or California. I don't know. Either way, I am repacking my suitcase. And you know what's so funny? The first thing I put in there was my puffy coat, because you know what? I'll probably need that in Michigan. That's the only thing that's like slightly different, I think. A coat and gloves. There we go. I'm loving this. And I can't wait to see it when it's done. Do you know, like when it's all dry? And I love that, like, this is like the second and third layer, because we already have the first layer with the vintage puppetry. And shut up, look at that. Look at that, like bubbles almost. I'm coming in with that wet brush, moving that color around. Right? Oh, nice, Peg. Oh. I haven't even looked at the temperature in either place. Crazy. Oh, I love it. Oh, down here. Can you see that little bit that I'm doing down here? So remember, we're really playing with, she's in the hospital, Tam. So just asking for prayers. Okay. went in with that. I hope you guys are... Yeah, that's true, Lynn. That's true. I think there's one in my car, if I'm remembering correctly. Good morning, Denise. Thank you, Tam. I really appreciate that. So I might need the puffy coat if California is the place. Okay. So I'm liking this, you guys. It's kind of I don't know. It's just making me kind of happy. And you know, I love distress. I know. We got spoiled, didn't we, Deb? I love Distress Oxide because of the funky nature of it, you know? But I'm feeling like I want to do some splatter on here with the bright pink. Right? Because you remember, this is like a background paper, so it can be whatever we want it to be. That's making me kind of happy. Got a little bit left. Okay. So I'm thinking this needs to dry a little bit. So I'm going to set that aside. And then I have all these other ideas. So I have this strip of washi tape up here. So I'm going to pull this down a little bit. And I'm thinking, I didn't put any watercolor ground on there. Let's see. There was my watercolor ground. I love doing background papers too because I always feel like it gives me this jumping off point in my creating. And I told myself that it was going to be like a focus this year to do background papers and a lot more like 2-week, take our time art journaling. That's just kind of feeling how I'm feeling right now. Okay, so let's play around with this one because we still have some pink here. Everybody take a drink. Okay, so this time I saw, and I can't remember her first name. Oh, I will find it out. On Lize Creates, she used the lid to her oxides. She used a little one, but why can't we use a big one? So we're going to get some squares. That's kind of cool, right? I'm really digging that. Like that's giving a whole funkier vibe. And we can overlap them. Right? So remember I have that washi tape that's called Rounded Squares. That's kind of how I'm feeling this morning. Let's wipe that up. Okay. And now we can let this sit. I kind of like the idea that this is, that the squares are pretty prominent, but let's see if we can, let's take the round, I think, instead, and see if we can soften that edge with just a little bit of a wet brush. But I really still want to keep that square shape pretty prominent. So I'm just doing that jiggy jaggy blend. And we're just, you remember, this is just a slow build, right? We're just a slow build, no pressure. I never make copies, Lynn, I told you, because I always feel like I want to make something else. And the copy is never going to look as cute as the original, right? Because your copy machine, unless you have a very high-end copy machine, it's not going to be as crisp as your original, and the colors won't be as brilliant. And, you know, like I said, I just like making art. I just like to, you know, make more art. So these are all pretty dry. Let's see if this one, if I can get a little bit of movement. Getting there. But if you want to make copies, you go right ahead. I'm just saying for me. There we go. A little bit. Soften just a little bit. And I'm using a wet brush on this because I'm, you know, stuff is, that is making me so happy. And the paper looks kind of gray because it's darker. The originals were very dark. And so, let's come in with some spice marmalade. That's so funny, you can barely see it on the mat. I'm gonna dip our brush in water again and make some paint. Oh, look at that. We're gonna mix that spice marmalade and picked raspberries. Look at that, that's pretty. So I think I'm gonna put little bits of that on my washi up here that I have on my craft mat. Just get a little bit of that color on there. And then let's take this little, I like it too, Valerie. It's kind of making me happy. So I'm just gonna randomly stamp, right? And then I'm gonna come back in with my wet brush and move that color around. So we're just building a pattern, right? We're just building, 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 building. And here's the thing. We can mix colors like this, or we could mix colors like this. We could stick the picked raspberry down and so this still has some of the orange on, but look at how much deeper it is, more coral like. But look at, we can add some of this to these. Just bits, just to give us some depth. Like if you add just that little bit of a deeper color, you're going to get some nice depth, right? Gonna let's try some straight. Some straight picked raspberry down here. Let's see what we can do with that. Let's do little bits of that. Just around the edges. Just deepen those edges ever so slightly. That's all that matters, Kay. I promise you. We're just making patterns. I was just feeling that this morning. I was just feeling like I needed something mellow this morning, you know? Lots in my head, and so sometimes to get myself out of my head, I need to just paint. Just paint. Just paint. Right? But I don't want my pattern to be of any, like, I just want it to be random and, yeah. I just like the randomness. So now let's try, oh, remember we put some of this with this. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Absolutely. Ledger paper is the way to go. So at the retreat, I printed some art printables on ledger paper. Very fun. Very fun. So Kay, you keep that ledger paper, sister, and I'll be over. I'll be over and we'll make all kinds of art. Okay, stop it, you guys. Ooh, I'm loving that. I know, I was thinking the same thing, Valerie. I need to get some more water down here. And then splat some of that. And you know what I love? I love that, because it just kind of happened, that color. Like, I could certainly try to recreate it, but don't you love when things just... Do you know what I mean? Just by... splatters just always bring it together, doesn't it? Oh my gosh. This one. The blending of colors, totally bringing that to the other sheet because I'm loving that. I'm loving the bits and pieces. Okay, so I got a little bit of this color left. I'm just going to try and scrub it down onto my washi tape. Okay, let's wipe that up. And then I have the ledger paper. Okay, so here's the ledger paper that I, when I was playing with printing things. Jennifer, how are you? Oh my gosh, I'm so happy you're here. Jennifer is on my design team and she hails from Australia. So everybody say good day or whatever. Is that insulting if we say that? Everybody take a drink. So, Jen, we are playing with distress oxides this morning. So, I'm sure it's the middle of the night for her. Okay, let's see. Okay, so I'm going to take this color. This is Abandoned Coral. Let's take a different, okay, let's take the cap to the vitamin bottle. I thought this would be kind of cool because of the opposites on the color wheel kind of vibe we got going. Okay. So again, I just stamped it. And now I'm coming in with my wet brush. There we go. Okay. I'm going to do some more of that. I really like that Abandoned Coral on the ledger paper. Let's go over that again. Get a little more. There we go. Man, I swallowed down the wrong tube, I think. So let's come in and do that same technique where we just jiggy blend with our wet brush. Oh, I love it so much. $3 a.m. I hope you're lying in bed watching us. This is giving me some really funky vibes. Let's get some more color down there. I'm going to put some of that down on my washi tape too. That one more time. Oh, that's kind of cool. What if I go stamp on top of it one more time? That's kind of cool. Ugh! Don't you love when something happens by accident and it turns out really cool? Gives it just a little bit more definition. Okay. I will. So let's come in and soften these. So I hope you're all inspired to just grab some different substrates. Do you know what I mean? Grab a couple of vintage puppetries because there's always a starting point, right? And you're gonna have your first layer, and they're only $1. P.S. Sue, did you get your, I emailed you that printable. Did you find it? Oh, I'm loving it so much. Oh my gosh, you guys. But now I'm feeling like I want to add some spiced marmalade. Like in the centers, I feel like that's going to add some cool. Everybody take a drink. Ooh, very cool. Very cool, Vicky. Look at that. With that little bit of abandoned coral in there. Let's just add little bits with this big brush. See what happens with that. We can certainly blend it out as we go. Let's splat. Ooh, some of my splats getting on my washi tape too. I'm digging that. Oh, they're pretty fun. Valerie, I'm telling you. You know I don't deny myself any cuteness. And so, I'm kind of digging how random this is. You need to just make time every day, Vic. Just make time every day to do just a little bit of creating. It works wonders for the soul. And the dishes will be there, I promise you. They will be there. Sharon, how are you? Oh my goodness. How are you, my dear friend? Oh my goodness. Oh, they're pretty fun, Lynn. I'm telling you, they are pretty fun. Okay, look at that. I'm loving it. Now I want to set that one aside to dry. How am I doing on time? 10 minutes. Okay, let's try. How did that happen? And I didn't even talk about any of the talking points that I wanted to talk about. That's okay. I'll put them in the newsletter or something. I know I didn't send a newsletter last week. I was just overwhelmed with life. That's for sure. Okay, let's start with some abandoned coral. I'm curious how it's going to work on this substrate. Every substrate's a little bit different, you know? So it's all about playing with it and seeing where it goes. And oh, they're so fun. They're so fun, Valerie. I think you would love them. I'm liking the double stamp. Like, that's kind of giving me all the feels. Oh, that's kind of cool. Now let's come in with that wet brush. So remember, this was the whole sheet covered in my washi tape. The floral from the set number 3 with the writing implements. We can blend that out. Dip. I just scratched my chin and I thought, did I get paint on my chin? I absolutely could have, that's for sure. Okay, now let's come in with some abandoned coral. So I'm feeling like a couple things. I want to mix it with this little bit of spice marmalade on my brush still. So I get that funky color that isn't a normal color. I love that idea. Do you know what I mean? And I'm just dab, dab, dab on my washi tape. And then we could splat all over this, right? I love a pattern on top of a pattern. And then let's just take this little bottle cap. I wonder if I have paint on my face. Because I just scratched my face again. Kind of loving that. Like, that's making a really cool tap, tap, tap. Okay, maybe we just leave that. Do you know what I mean? Maybe I don't soften it with any more water. I don't know. But let's come in with some picked raspberry. Let's see where we go with that. Wet. Look at that. It kind of turns picked raspberry into almost like a rose color, like a deep coral pink. That's making me all kinds of happy. Let's get a little bit more of that, because now I think let's do something. Let's go back to the square. Valerie will be happy. So I want to really get lots of paint on there. So let's turn it and tap it and stick. Oh. Scoop. And I like it to just be really random, like really, no rhyme or reason. Right? I know, Jennifer. Come on, it's so dang cute. So let's take that, make some more. Get some pink on there. Get some pink on our washi. Da-da-da. That's so funny. They were teasing me at the retreat all weekend about it. Oh, Lynn. Oh, I bet Carmen has talked to you about it. I bet she has. Okay, so little by, let's get a little bit more, do a little bit of dab, dab, dab. But I want to soften that a little bit, I think. Nothing too, I like it really quite obscure, I think. Like I like some of the hard lines. Do you know what I mean? Here we go. Let's get this splatty. Don't want to waste any of this color. I haven't. I'm intrigued by it, Jennifer, but I haven't. Okay, so let's go back to the very, 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 very first, right? So there we go. Oh, you guys. It is sometimes, well, it's not hard for me. But I understand that it's hard for others. Just like numbers are hard for me. Right? So everybody's got their thing. But I do try to do numbers. Shush up, Lynn, my good stuff. What are you saving it for? You know? I think about that sometimes. Like I have candles that I was saving for good. I have, do you know what I mean? That's silly, right? We should just be, every day that we're on this earth and we're lucky enough to walk amongst our family and friends, that's a good enough day. Okay, so let's go over. I know I'm over. Okay, so we've done some washi tape. right? We've done 1, 2, 3, 4 starts of backgrounds, right? Like we will just continue to, like I have big ideas for these. I see like other bits and pieces in my future, and let's be sure to, so try to do about 4 backgrounds. Just play, or however many you want, right? Just play. But then next Thursday, we will be putting these in our art journal, in our 2024 art journal. So, yeah, because if you don't use paints, sometimes they they dry up, and then I'm just mad that I let it sit all this way. So we're gonna have 4 starts to pages. Make that a goal. If you do more, that's fine. You can absolutely always have these in your stash of artsy papers, right? Look at my fingers today. That means I had a good time. And you guys helped me work through my anxious feelings about Mom in the hospital and the trip to California and all the things. So please continue to send prayers if you're a praying type. Positive vibes if you're not. And please go out and make some artsy papers today. This was super easy. These are on copy paper, and I coated them with watercolor ground, transparent watercolor ground, and and some inks. But you could use watercolor. You remember what I said. Use whatever you have that's water-based, because if it's water-based, you can make a paint, right? You can make a paint out of water-based things. I adore you all. Thank you so, so much. And I will see you next week on Tuesday. Maybe Monday if I'm home, because it's my birthday. And maybe we'll do something to celebrate together. But my life is topsy-turvy, so it'll be a surprise. I adore you all. Bye, everyone.